We made some really nice progress on our little rollerball game. We have a simple level, the player is moving according to the input he gets, and the game is slowly coming together. I would like to use this moment to briefly talk about a concept which is somewhat connected to version control. Version control is more than just a technology that allows you to save stuff in a convenient way, but it should nudge you to care about and manage your project state. If this sounds too fancy for you, all it really means is care about keeping your project clean, simple, and understandable. And this brings me to the actual point of the video, which is refactoring. Without going too deep on this, refactoring in essence is all about making something more robust or stable or less error-prone, if you like, without changing how it actually behaves to the outside world. This sounds like something that you should be doing all the time, right? But here's why you don't. So those white parts here are the features where we feel like we make a lot of progress and everyone is happy, particularly your managers if you have them. When we refactor, however, we seemingly don't make any progress. We do something, so it takes time, but it's not a new feature, it's no new functionality, no new visuals, so not everyone is happy, particularly your managers. So should we still do it? Absolutely. And here's why. What no one from the outside can actually see is the error proneness or stability of your game or software. Some also like to call this technical debt. And what happens if you add a feature? You always, absolutely always add instability to your project. This is not avoidable. The question is just, how do we handle it? One way to handle it is to now and then step back, look at your project and decide if it's a good moment for refactoring. Because with refactoring, we want to reduce the instability again and create some order in the chaos of everyday development. So the idea is to develop features and then at certain points take some time for a bit of refactoring. When should you do it? Well, this is one of the eternal secrets of software development. There is no simple answer for it. You might know the saying, the only hard things in programming are cache invalidation and naming things. Well, you might as well add the art of refactoring to this list. If you do more refactoring than feature development, then something is definitely wrong. If you do no refactoring at all, it's probably wrong as well. Obviously, this gets much more relevant the bigger your project gets. But hey, we actually wanted to simulate work on a real game project, so I wanted to mention this here briefly. Now, enough digression. How is this all related to version control? Well, version control gives us the perfect tools for refactoring. We can clearly separate the work on a feature and the work on refactoring, so that we can safely test if our changes broke something and clearly communicate to everyone that those changes are refactoring the project and not adding any functionality. How do we do that? If we go back to our project, what I really don't like about our work so far is that we have just thrown everything into a root directory. Now, obviously our project is very small and we only have 4 things here, but just imagine we had 20 assets and scripts and scenes and whatnot. One very simple but very typical example for refactoring would be to create a meaningful folder structure. Before we do that, however, we want to go to plastic and create a new branch, because then again, we can isolate the refactoring work and not break anything on the main branch. Let's first make sure we are on the latest change set on main. Remember that we are generally working with task branches. And this now comes in handy because when we prefix the branch with refactoring or refactor, then it's immediately clear to anyone working on the project that this is not a normal task or feature, but a special kind of work, which might change some internals of the project. Back in Unity, our actual refactoring is very simple, of course. We have 3 types of files, so let's create corresponding directories for them. We have a scene, 2 scripts, and a material. We could now make a change set, which will just encapsulate creating the new directories. Then we put the files where they belong and observe what happens in version control. We can see that the files get a new status, moved. Remember, Plastic can actually track moved files and preserve their history when we move them, not like other version control systems, which would regard this as removing and adding again. Let's also check this in. And our very simple refactoring is done, so it's time to merge it into the main branch. This time we will choose another approach, which is a bit longer but safer. For that we need to go back to the main branch. If we check in Unity now, our changes are gone and we don't have the new directories yet. And now we can choose the change set which we want to merge from and choose merge from this change set. This is now different than our previous merges because it now shows us what changes will apply first. You can see those 2 sections, moves to apply and new items to download, which explains what Plastic wants to do. It will download the changes from the source, which is our new branch, into our current workspace. Also note that we are not merging yet, but only applying the changes. In the Branch Explorer, you now see this dotted line, which is showing that we are in a special state in which we applied the changes from the branch, but haven't checked them in yet. The whole point of this way of merging is that you can now first check the changes in Unity before you do the actual merge. So let's just do that. In the pending changes, we can see the 4 moved files and the 3 added folders. Notice that the status here is copied. This is again the Plastic perspective that we are downloading or copying the folders from the source repository. Finally, we have something called merge link description. For now, let's just note that this is telling us from where the merge is coming. We will briefly talk about merge links in the next section. Let's also run the game to make sure we didn't break anything. And if we are happy with the changes, we check in. Back in Plastic, we get basically the same picture as we had with our previous merges. And you can see the line representing the merge is not dotted anymore, but solid. This wraps up our little discussion on refactoring. If there is one thing you should take away from this video, then it is that version control is the perfect tool to safely work on refactorings without interfering with your actual features. For those of you who experienced angry managers yelling that refactoring is not progress, let's get back to progress and tackle our next feature in the next video.